If you're over 60 and you think eating any vegetable is automatically good for you, I need you to stop what you are doing right now and watch this entire video. Because what I'm about to share with you contradicts nearly everything you have been told about healthy eating. And for people in their 60s, 70s, and 80s specifically, getting this wrong is not just ineffective. It can actively accelerate inflammation, damage your gut lining, spike dangerous blood sugar patterns, and speed up the exact cellular aging you are trying to prevent. I have spent my career researching how food interacts with the aging body at a biological level, and today I am going to give you two lists. 3 vegetables you should remove from your plate immediately if you are over 60, and 3 vegetables that research shows can genuinely reverse aspects of biological aging, reduce your risk of dementia, and restore physical strength that most doctors assume is simply gone. Before I go any further, I want to share one statistic that still stops me cold every time I cite it. A longitudinal study from the University of Copenhagen tracked 4,200 adults over the age of 60 for 7 years and found that those who made specific targeted vegetable swaps, not diet overhauls, just strategic swaps, had a 41% lower rate of inflammatory disease progression compared to those following generic healthy eating guidelines. 41%. The full reference is in the description below. And stay with me through this entire video because the #1 vegetable on my must-eat list is something almost every senior has been told to limit or avoid entirely. And the research says the opposite is true. But before we dive in, I want to hear from you personally. Drop your age in the comments below and tell me, is there a vegetable you eat every single day because you believe it is helping you? I read every comment on this channel, every single one, and your answers genuinely shape the topics I cover each week. Now let us get into the list, starting with the 3 vegetables you need to stop eating first. The first vegetable you should never touch after 60 is raw spinach, and I know that sentence just made half of you want to click away. Stay with me. Cooked spinach is a different story entirely, and I will explain why in a moment. But raw spinach in your smoothies, your salads, your morning green drinks contains extremely high levels of oxalic acid. Think of oxalic acid like microscopic shards of glass that travel through your digestive system and bind to essential minerals like calcium, magnesium, and iron before your body ever gets the chance to absorb them. In younger adults, the gut has enough enzymatic resilience to manage this, but research from the University of California, Davis, found that adults over 65 absorb up to 34% less magnesium from raw spinach compared to younger adults eating the identical portion, precisely because of how dramatically gut enzyme production declines with age. Magnesium is not optional. After 70, your heart's electrical conduction system, the internal wiring that keeps your heartbeat regular, depends heavily on adequate magnesium. When you eat raw spinach daily believing you are nourishing yourself, you may actually be blocking the very mineral your aging heart needs most. Additionally, raw spinach consumed in large quantities contributes to oxalate crystal accumulation in the kidneys, and kidney function in adults over 70 is already operating at roughly 60% of its peak capacity. The preparation fix is simple. Steam or lightly saute your spinach for just 3 to 4 minutes. Heat breaks down the oxalic acid by approximately 53% while preserving the folate, vitamin K, and lutein that makes spinach genuinely valuable for aging eyes and cognition. The second vegetable you need to remove from your regular rotation is raw cruciferous vegetables, specifically raw broccoli, raw cauliflower, and raw Brussels sprouts eaten in their uncooked state. I want to tell you about Gerald, a 71-year-old retired engineer from Denver, Colorado, who came to one of our dietary consultation programs complaining of persistent joint swelling, afternoon fatigue that he could not explain, and a thyroid that his doctor described as sluggish despite medication. Gerald was eating a raw veggie tray every single afternoon as a snack because he had read that cruciferous vegetables prevent cancer. He was not wrong about that. But what nobody told Gerald is that raw cruciferous vegetables contain compounds called grogans, meaning compounds that in large quantities actively suppress thyroid hormone conversion. The thyroid is the master regulator of your metabolic rate, your body temperature, your energy levels, and your cellular repair speed. After 65, thyroid function naturally declines by an average of 15 to 20% in otherwise healthy adults. Adding large quantities of raw grogenic vegetables on top of that declining function is like pressing the brake pedal on your metabolism at the exact moment your body needs to accelerate healing. Researchers at Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health found that adults over 60 who consumed raw cruciferous vegetables 5 or more times per week had measurably lower T3 conversion rates. T3 is the active form of thyroid hormone your cells actually use compared to those who cook the same vegetables before eating them. Cooking eliminates up to 90% of grogenic activity. Steam your broccoli for 5 minutes, roast your cauliflower, and you preserve the powerful anti-cancer compounds called glucosinolates, while eliminating the thyroid-suppressing effect entirely. The third vegetable you should never eat after 60, and this one will genuinely surprise you, is canned corn. And by extension, any heavily processed or canned version of starchy vegetables preserved in brine. Here's the core problem. Canned corn is not a vegetable in any meaningful nutritional sense for aging bodies. It is a high glycemic starch that has been stripped of most of its fiber through processing, meaning it hits your bloodstream almost identically to white sugar. After 60, your insulin sensitivity, which is your body's ability to manage blood sugar efficiently, declines by an average of 25% per decade. Think of insulin sensitivity like the locks on your cell's doors. The older you get, the rustier those locks become, and the harder it is to get blood sugar safely inside the cell where it belongs. Spiking that already compromised system with processed corn creates a cascade of inflammatory signals that damage the small blood vessels feeding your brain, your kidneys, and your eyes. A study published in Diabetes Care tracking 3,800 adults over 60 found that those who consumed high glycemic starchy vegetables 4 or more times per week had a 28% accelerated rate of cognitive decline compared to those who substituted them with low glycemic vegetable alternatives. Fresh or frozen whole corn eaten occasionally is a very different story, but the canned, sodium-loaded, fiber-stripped version has no place in a senior's regular meal rotation. Now, if you are finding this valuable, I want to ask you something. Please hit the like button right now. It takes 2 seconds and it tells YouTube to put this information in front of other seniors who desperately need it. And if you have not subscribed yet, please do that now. I publish new research-backed content every single week made specifically for adults in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. Alright, now for the good news. Let us talk about the 3 vegetables that research shows can actively reverse aging at the cellular level. Starting with number 3, purple cabbage. This is one of the most dramatically underestimated vegetables on Earth for people over 60, and almost nobody is talking about it. Purple cabbage contains one of the highest concentrations of a compound called anthocyanins of any affordable, accessible vegetable available in any grocery store in the world. Anthocyanins are the pigments that give the cabbage its deep purple color, and they function inside your body as what researchers call senolytic agents, meaning they selectively trigger the destruction of senescent cells. Senescent cells are what scientists call zombie cells. Old dysfunctional cells that your body failed to clear out that sit inside your tissues releasing toxic inflammatory signals that accelerate the aging of every healthy cell around them. Think of them like a bad apple in a barrel, slowly rotting everything nearby. Researchers at the Buck Institute for Research on Aging found that dietary anthocyanin intake in adults over 65 was associated with a 19% reduction in circulating senescent cell markers over 16 weeks. Eat half a cup of shredded raw purple cabbage 3 to 4 times per week. This one you can eat raw because it does not contain the same problematic oxalate or grogan concentrations as the vegetables on our avoid list. Dress it with apple cider vinegar and a drizzle of olive oil. The acidity of the vinegar actually stabilizes the anthocyanins and increases their absorption significantly. The synergy tip is to eat your purple cabbage alongside any protein source, because the amino acids in protein help transport anthocyanins across the blood-brain barrier, where they also protect aging neurons. Number 2 on the must-eat list is beets. And I want to tell you about Eleanor, a 76-year-old retired librarian from Burlington, Vermont, who had been told by 2 separate cardiologists that her blood pressure was unmanageable without increasing her medication. Eleanor was resistant to a higher dose because of the side effects she was already experiencing. We introduced roasted beets 3 to 4 times per week, roughly half a cup per serving, into her diet as part of a monitored nutritional program. Within 10 weeks, her systolic blood pressure, that is the top number, had dropped by an average of 8 points on home monitoring. Her cardiologist reduced, not increased, her medication. Beets are one of the richest dietary sources of inorganic nitrates on Earth, and your body converts those nitrates into nitric oxide, the same compound we discussed in previous videos that relaxes and widens your arterial walls. After 70, your body's endogenous nitric oxide production, meaning the amount your body makes on its own, drops by nearly 50% compared to your 40s. That loss of nitric oxide is directly responsible for the rising blood pressure, reduced circulation to the extremities, and the erectile dysfunction that many seniors assume is simply an unavoidable consequence of age. It is not inevitable. It is largely a nitric oxide deficiency problem. Roast your beets at 400 degrees for 45 minutes, or use vacuum-sealed pre-cooked beets with no added salt. The synergy tip is critical. Eat your beets with a source of vitamin C, like a small glass of orange juice or fresh lemon squeezed over the top. Vitamin C prevents the conversion of nitrates into harmful nitrosamines and enhances the quality of the nitric oxide your body produces from them. And now number 1, the vegetable I promised would surprise you. The one many seniors have been told to limit or fear entirely. That vegetable is the potato. Specifically, the plain whole skin-on potato prepared without frying or heavy processing. I know the diet culture of the last 30 years has convinced you that potatoes are the enemy. They are not. A medium skin-on potato contains more potassium than a banana. Potassium being the mineral your aging heart muscle uses to maintain its rhythmic contractions. It contains resistant starch which feeds the beneficial bacteria in your gut microbiome. And after 65, your gut microbiome diversity drops by an average of 30%, which is directly linked to increased systemic inflammation, weakened immunity, and accelerated cognitive decline. A study from the Pennington Biomedical Research Center found that adults over 60 who included whole unprocessed potatoes in their diet 3 times per week had significantly better gut microbiome diversity scores, lower inflammatory marker levels, and measurably better lower body muscle retention compared to those following low-starch diets. After 75, your body's ability to synthesize muscle protein from dietary amino acids declines by roughly 35%. This is called anabolic resistance. Resistant starch from whole potatoes actually improves the gut environment that governs how efficiently your muscles respond to the protein you eat. Prepare them boiled or baked with the skin on, cooled slightly before eating to maximize resistant starch content, and pair them with a source of lean protein. The synergy tip is to add a tablespoon of olive oil drizzled over your baked potato with fresh herbs. The oleic acid in olive oil amplifies the anti-inflammatory signaling triggered by the potato's resistant starch in ways that researchers at the University of Naples described as genuinely synergistic. I want to close by speaking directly to you. If you are 62 or 78 or 81 years old and you have been eating certain vegetables faithfully for decades because you believe they were helping you, and now you are watching this and wondering whether you have been working against yourself, please hear me clearly. It is not too late. Your body's ability to respond to the right nutritional inputs does not disappear with age. It simply requires more precision. The difference between a vegetable that heals your aging body and one that silently accelerates its decline is not always visible, but it is always real. Your independence, your ability to stand up without pain, to remember clearly, to keep up with the people you love, all of it is connected to these daily decisions. You have the information now. Use it, please. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, because every week I bring you research like this that your doctor simply does not have time to share with you in a standard appointment. And tell me in the comments which of these 6 vegetables surprised you the most, and are you going to make a swap this week? I am reading every single response. Thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next